Hello all. Previous class we had discussed about powder production techniques. Still some more powder production techniques are remaining. So today we will continue with them. In this first next one is atomization of powder. So atomization of a powder has been classified into three categories, namely gas, water and centrifugal. Virtually any material that can be melted can be made into powder by disintegrating in the liquid. The process is independent of normal physical and mechanical properties associated with the solid material. The method is being widely adopted, especially because of the relative case of making high purity metals and pre-alloyed powders directly from the melt. So in this first one we will discuss, that is gas atomization process. The general atomizing media in this are nitrogen, argon or sometimes air. Various atomization geometries are used in commercial practice. In what is known as external mixing, contact between the atomizing medium and melt takes place outside the respective nozzles. This type of mixing is used extensively for the atomization of metals. Internal mixing is quite common for atomization of materials which are liquid at room temperature. The axes of the gas jets are equally inclined to the melt stream axis and intersect this axis at the geometrical impingement point. Gas atomized powders are typically spherical with relatively smooth surfaces. High pressure and or a smaller jet distance produce fine powder. Such production method is used for preparing powders of super alloys like titanium, high-speed steel, and other relative metals, and is expensive if inert gas other than nitrogen have to be used. Next one is water atomization process. Water atomization process is a high pressure process where a stream of water is forced through the nozzles to form a disperse phase of droplets which then impact the metal stream. In this method, large quantities of energy are required to supply the water at high pressure. This production method is significant for low and high alloy steels, including stainless steel. Because of oxide formation, water atomization is not likely to be used in the atomization of highly reactive metals such as titanium and the super alloys. In general, water atomized powders are irregularly shaped with rough oxidized surfaces. So we cannot use this kind of process where the metals are reactive to water or the chemical which we are using for as a cooling agent. Next one in atomization of powder is liquid gas atomization process. This liquid gas atomization process was implemented by a company called Krupp. Basically this company is from Germany, which introduced a novel version of atomization in which the melt is atomized with a cryogenic liquid gas such as argon or nitrogen, which is maintained at around minus 200 degrees centigrade. During the process, the pressure of liquid gas is increased up to 500 bar, while a recooling unit prevents the temperature from rising in spite of compression and prevents the cryogenic liquid from vaporizing instantaneously at the jet opening. And even steam is generated which atomizes the melt comparably to water atomization and which cools rapidly. Since the atomization liquid vaporizes completely, gas and powder can be easily separated in the cyclone. The resulting powder has following properties. It is much purer than the powder atomized. with water, and comparatively good in comparison with water atomized powder mechanism. The cooling rate is 10 times higher than in gas atomization and almost reaches the quality of water atomization. Particles of 100 nanometer in diameter are quenched approximately at 106 kils per second, degree Kelvin per second. The powders are gas atomized, spherical, and have an average of 6 to 125 nanometer. Due to the distinctive presence of stylites, mainly low alloy powders shows satisfactory results in cold forming while having a good flowability. Gas atomized powders, on the other hand, have poor green strength. Next one in atomization of powder is the centrifugal atomization. The basis of centrifugal atomization is the ejection of molten metal from a rapidly spinning container, plate, or disk, which can be seen here. The rotating electrode process, that is REP, is further an example of centrifugal atomization. The material in the form of rod electrode is rotated rapidly while being melted at one end of an electric arc. Molten metal spins off the bar and solidifies before hitting the walls of the inert gas-filled outer container. The process was developed primarily for the atomization by high purity, low oxygen content titanium alloys and superalloys. Powder particles are smooth and spherical with an average diameter of 200 nanometers and the size ranging from about 50 to 400 micrometers. Typically yields the run of around 75% for the 55 mesh powder. Before we proceed with the next part, we'll have a video of gas atomization process. This is a small video. So here we have molten metal, and coiling arrangement is used so that we can melt the metals. Atomization of liquid metal powder, powerful gas jets falling from the melt in the form of a powder. That powder is collected in the container. So last is packing process, where a tight container is used so that we can reduce the oxidation of powder. The next process in atomization of powder is vacuum atomization. Vacuum or soluble gas atomization is a commercial batch process based on the principle that when a molten metal supersaturated with gas under pressure is suddenly exposed to vacuum, the gas expands, comes out of solution, and causes the liquid metal to be atomized. Alloy powders based on nickel, copper, cobalt, iron, and aluminum can be vacuum atomized with hydrogen. Cobalt with hydrogen. Powders are spherical in cross section, clean and high purity compared to powders produced by other processing methods. The process was developed and patented by Homogeneous Metal Inc. Company. The construction and working is shown in the diagram itself. So equipment is used for atomization process. The principal use of powder made by vacuum atomization has been for the production of gas turbine discs and intricate parts by injection molding, whereas small components, very small components in level can also be generated, because the powder generated by this process is very much uniform and in a micron level. So after completion of powder production techniques, now we'll start with characterization techniques. Before we start with characterization techniques, first we will understand what is characterization. Characterization is the process of identifying various particles by particle shape, size, surface properties, charge properties, mechanical properties, and microstructure. There is a broad range of commercially available particle characterization techniques that can be used to measure a particular samples. So now we will discuss particle size and shape distribution. The diagram shows a different shape and sizes of a particle produced by various process we have discussed in previous class as well as today's class. So first one you can see here, one dimensional. So a pin kind of a particle produced where it has a particular cross sectional, and that thickness or diameter of cross section can be neglected. In only one direction the size is considered, because of that it is referred as one dimensional. So it generally occurs due to chemical decomposition. Chemical decomposition occurs at a very thinner rate. Next one is two dimensional. It can also be referred as dendritic electrolytic. Here in one direction there will be thickness, and in other direction there will be certain amount of length of a particle. Next is a three-dimensional spherical. Generally gas atomization or water atomization or basically atomization process can be used to produce a spherical kind of element. um, Next one is irregular, that can be seen here. The shape is indeterminate in all the cross sections. So next one is angular or mechanical disintegration. Here the shape is again irregular in cross section, but at certain angle there will be change in the cross section. Next is irregular rod like section, where um, a long particle is produced having a particular thickness, and that thickness is irregular in cross section. Flake Flakes are generally produced whenever a particle is broken into pieces. This kinds of disintegration is not produced by atomization process. This might be produced by mechanical grinding process, where chipping off of a particular powder from the main metal can create flakes. Rounded rounded components is where component which is produced from the flake itself. When the flake is produced, again rounding of that flake rounds off the edges, which can be seen here. Next is porous. This kind of powder is produced, shape of the powder is produced due to the oxidation process, where gases are trapped inside a particular material. So the shape of the powder is characterized by the dimensionality of a particle and its counter surface. An idea system of shape characterization is given in the figure which we have seen just now, together with the major manufacturing techniques which produce such shapes. Most powder particles are three-dimensional, which we have seen right now, except for the first one, that is, it is being one dimension. In three-dimensional in nature, and they may be considered as being somewhat equiaxed. Spherical particles present the simplest and ideal example of this shape. Porous particles differ from irregular ones because of the presence of the porosity. which itself may be very irregular in both shape and size. The large amount of porosity makes any shape characterization very difficult. In a real mass of powder, all prepared in the same manner, all the particles will not have the same exact shape as well as size, even though in certain cases shape may be especially the same. Consequently, we must deal with size distribution when accurately describing the powders. Accurately. There are various methods one may use to calculate average diameters. Particle size, therefore, is not a concise quality, but for any given normal spherical particle may have several values with different meanings depending on the sizing method used. So, so whenever a particular batch of powder is produced, we have different processes of analyzing the particle size. One is by using a particular microscope, which we will discuss in later part, and another is the particle analyzer equipment. It generally analyzes each and every particle which is given as a sample to it. Basically, it will be sizing. It will be finding the size of a of a cross section in the form of length width of a particle, and then taking the average of all those measured dimensions and quantifying them in a particular area or cross section or a volume. So by this, the equipment can find average size of a particle. Because the particles are of very smaller cross section or diameter, we cannot quantify individual uh, size of a particle. So we can only quantify the particle size in the form of an average. Particle size distribution curves relate the particle size of the corresponding fraction of powder with that size. Figure illustrates various size distributions in unimodal distribution. There is one high point or maximum amount of a certain critical size, which can be seen here. So this we can consider as x-axis. X-axis we can consider the size at a particular level, and total weight of the size in y direction. So there will be certain amount of peaks. So higher the peak indicates higher amount of uh, particles of a particular size, and there may be many peaks. Just you can see in this diagram itself. So there are two peaks here. So at this size, higher number of particles are present. At this size, lower number of particles are present. The polynomial distribution consists of two or more narrow bands of particle size, each with a maximum with virtually no particles between such band. The broad band distribution, which can be seen in the second diagram, is simply corresponds to the uniform concentration of particle sizes over a rather broad size interval with virtually no particles having sizes outside a particular range. So here we can consider from this size till this size we have a large width of particle sizes which are equally distributed in the sample lot. The irregular distribution represents a continuous and finite variation of particle sizes within a relatively broad range. It can be thus concluded that the particle size distribution is necessary for complete characterization of the particles. The next characterization technique is by using a microscope. Here, for your syllabus, they have mentioned electron microscope for powder. This electron microscope, generally referred as scanning electron microscope, we had discussed in one of the modules, and there we had used this microscope for for scanning of a surfaces to get a particular structure of a surface. In this case, we can also use this microscope for analysis of the shape and size of a powder in nanometer level or in micrometer level. Powders are some of the hardest materials to mount. They agglomerate. Agglomeration is the collection of powder particle forming a lump. The agglomerates are hard to distribute evenly on the surface and can charge easily and fly off the mount in a vacuum and under the beam. You need to try to get one layer only of the powder into the mount. Generally, the powders produced are of very less weight, so whenever vacuum is created, the weight is still reduced. So this creates hard. This makes hard for the scanning process because the beam, whenever it hits, powder might disrupt from its position. If it is piled up, only the top will be coated, and when the sample shifts, the conductive surface will be disrupted. It is also important to make sure that you get powder that is representative of your material. Since there are wide variety of shapes and sizes, it is very important to get a particular correct sample size. Setting um, it, it is carbon tape or paint makes a good adhesive base for most powders. We can sprinkle the powder lightly on the tape or any kind of glue with the help of spatula and press lightly to seat the powder on the tape itself. Then we can scan this powder for the shape and size. If you are going to do particle sizing using imaging analysis, it is critical that particles do not touch. Whenever there is interaction between two particles in certain cases, you might imagine it as a single particle, which will give a false size. Oven has a jet dispersion device that works well to disperse particles in a stream of air into the adhesive surface. Another option for fine powders is to disperse them in a polar liquid such as alcohol. Put several drops on a glass slide and allow the alcohol to evaporate. Some of the supply catalogs have liquids designated to both disperse particles and act as an adhesive. What happens here is that due to viscous action, repelment of particles takes place whenever dispersed into a particular liquid such as alcohol, and that vaporizes rapidly. So the dispersed particles will be seated in position so that they can be analyzed for further analysis purpose. So by this we have completed the characterization techniques. Before ending today's class, we will see a video pertaining to the atomization process relating to additive manufacturing. by this video we will end today's class. Thank you.